Andrew Sullivan goes, ask me anything you want about gay sex, which is like, I just feel like, how do you not know better? We're 45 minutes in. This guy has been so juvenile about being gay the entire time. And Andrew Sullivan's like, you know what? Let's push through it. Ask me anything you want about gay sex. And this is Bill Maher's first question that he just barely manages to get out.
How do you decide which guy is going to...
Here we go. These really are the questions you always wanted to ask.
You
go right ahead.
What do you flip a coin?
No, it's funny. You don't.
Like, what do you... This was 2023. What do you...
It's like it goes back to like his Jackin book and his inability to understand that a gay man would also have one of those. Yes. That this might be like a shared human experience rather than like something for the straights. Because I think that the impression that I get from this and also from quite honestly, like listening to your show, because you have exposed me to a lot more Bill Maher than I would have otherwise encountered. But you know, the way that he talks about gay people, especially gay men, makes it really apparent that he thinks that they are fucking all the time. They are fucking everyone all the time, and that there is. It's very clear that he believes that there is something about the human experience of being gay that is completely counter to the human experience of being straight, rather than it being like, well, there's probably like a lot of differentiation as there is in everything. Like, why would you think that? Like, yeah. But this seems to be like his assumption, I think, is that the default for straight people is that they are monogamous, miserable, and married. Right, and then his default for gays is that they are fucking and sucking like crazy.
Yeah, there's one gay guy in his mind. There's a single gay guy, and that's all. And all gay men are born out of this singular type, this singular gay man who believes or who behaves in a singular way.
He also brings up the dichotomy between straight and gay, and basically is implying that after the Roman Empire, after like that's when we established like what's known as gay and straight right now. And that is like, there's a book called Gay New York that I just want to recommend as like one of just amazing like pieces of history I've ever read. But in part of it really explains like that is just not true. like really only 125 to 150 years ago was it really that you had the idea of straight at all, because it was a counter to the idea of being gay, which had always kind of like not really been something that was kind of in the shadows. But
yeah,
but that the societal idea of straight and gay is like a really like a relatively new thing. Bill, he's just like, oh no, everything was fluid back then, and then we just like walked it down. No, I don't think so, man. I don't think that's what it was.
He's a history major. So Andrew Sullivan starts talking about how gay men, he's like, I think on some level, gay men have an understanding with women. And it's also interesting, Andrew Sullivan is completely erasing the like lesbian experience, because he's only talking about women as having the only way he talks about women in terms of sex is them having sex with men. But he's like, we share a little bit in common with women because we also, so many of us know, that it is like inherently vulnerable to be penetrated. Like no matter what the relationship is, there is like an inherent vulnerability in that moment when you're like sort of literally letting a person into you. And Bill Maher takes a little bit of offense to the way he's trying to relate it.
Not just once or twice, but...
Oh, right, because he's talking about how, the entire idea of procreation, to procreate, a woman has to have something inserted into her, and essentially, like, over and over, pretty vigorously.
Yeah, this one's got really weird.
Yeah.
Well, until it's likely to hurt, right? I mean...
No,
no, it doesn't hurt, but how do you know?
Oh, I thought you were talking about women.
I am talking about women.
Well, I know.
It doesn't hurt, ever.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
Well, I'm just
you
saying.
know, but like that's not.
No, but I'm just saying it is.
They generally like it, and
They generally like it. Has this man ever talked to a woman in his life? Like, it's about. I mean, you know, it really does show you like what his relationships must be like.
This one is, he claims this was a real person he knows.
you know, one was about like my kid came home and said the teacher says we can't do Thanksgiving. You're not supposed to do Thanksgiving because of what we did to the Indian. And you know, the mother just had to say, we're doing fucking Thanksgiving, okay?
Yeah.
This is just insane.
You're also allowed to do that, but also Thanksgiving is some fucking bullshit. As somebody like living in Canada, and like obviously Thanksgiving is a real bullshit holiday that, you know, probably should not be celebrated in the way, but also at the end of the day, it still is a big deal. They have football. You can eat your turkey. I had a turkey, you know. No one came into my house and stopped me.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? It's like, you know, their kid came home and was like, Thanksgiving's bad. And the mother was like, we're doing it anyway. Can you believe it? It's like, yeah, it's a kid. Who cares? These are the kinds of stories where it's like, do you expect your kid to just come home and be like, Mother, today at school, I learned about how great you are and how great American society is. And now I'll help you.
I mean, they expect that a lot of these people, I think, are like, yeah, you should be propping up America and only talking positively about it. Like, that is sort of the attitude that you should not even talk about the negative aspects of it. But yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. I don't think this is a good example because I think Thanksgiving is pretty shitty. But you can also, you could get together as a family, eat turkey, and have a good get together and not be, which I don't think many people are really celebrating Christopher Columbus or whatever the fuck. You know, they're not. I don't know. Is it Christopher Columbus? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not celebrating that. They're just getting together with family and eating a turkey.
It's technically, it's like sitting down. It's supposed to be like, oh, when like the European settlers and the indigenous peoples of America came together and like broke bread or whatever. And it's like, okay,
yes.
Like, come on. He does defend.
That was not what was being broken.
No. He does defend Columbus later. He's like, oh, yeah, did Columbus have slaves? Yeah, but everybody had slaves. It's like, well, Columbus was actually so bad that the king and queen of England were disgusted by his behavior and made him come back to Spain so they could put him on trial for like crimes against humanity.
Come on, everybody. The king and queen of England were disgusted by everybody back then.
So that's Bill Maher talking about kids, where he's like, oh, somebody I know told me a story about their kids. Bert Kreischer's, his way of talking about his kids is he tells some story that makes him seem like the world's worst father. He precedes this by talking about how my wife and I got really high, and it was our kids' Christmas recital, and we went and we were still high. We were like still high and we went to our kids' Christmas recital. And he's saying this like it's funny. And I'm just like, that's despicable. Like, that's horrible.
It's embarrassing for your children, perhaps. Like, would you not have that? I guess he doesn't have that, right? Because he's constantly just embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like, he's like a public figure embarrassing himself. But yeah, like, just the idea of going there and making a fool of yourself or whatever that could reflect on your child later on is like, I could never even imagine doing that, you know, like it is horrible to think.
Yeah. So that's the context. And then here he's talking about specifically what they're doing. His kid was singing like Partridge in a Pear Tree at this Christmas recital. And this is his story mocking it.
Partridge in a Pear Tree. Yeah.
So they sing that song, but to make it woke, they changed it to Jewish shit, right? They go, we'll sing the version of the Christian one, but we're going to put Jewish stuff inside there.
Why does that make it more woke?
No, he's right. Why does it? I think Bert misunderstood. I think possibly maybe there's a lot of Jewish kids there. Maybe
Definitely.
like the instructors are Jewish, possibly, right? Like that's, I think, what it is. It's maybe catering towards a specific group, possibly just in that instance.
It's also like,
The person who wrote it was unfamiliar with Jewish belongings and just named things in a deli. And we were crying. And I'm still high. I'm sobbing, laughing. A black and white cookie. 3 matzo ball soups. I mean, it just sounded like a really aggressive order.
Were other Were other people laughing, or was it a silent auditorium and you were cry laughing with your big, obnoxious fucking belly laugh?
Yeah, they were like, hey, that unhoused guy is in here laughing during the recital.
Yeah. Hey, the guy without a shirt on is laughing during the recital.
Here's the other thing about that, too, because he even says later, Bill Maher's like, did they even mention a dreidel? And he goes, no, they didn't even mention a dreidel, which to me suggests this wasn't a thing where it's like, oh, to make it woke. They were like, well, we have to make this, we have to make this culturally sensitive. I bet it was a thing where one of the teachers was like, this song's so old. You know what would be funny is if we did it all, change it all to like things, food stuff. It's all stuff you get in it. And that'd be cute. And they'd all think it's cute. And Bert Kreischer is so stupid, but thinks he's smarter than everybody else. So he's like, can you believe how dumb this thing I didn't understand was?
Yeah. It seems like they were trying to do a joke.
Yes.
Like if they were doing they were doing it in a humorous way. And Bert is sitting there laughing at the completely wrong, like the wrong part of it.
It's like there was that video he posted a video walking around a Rite Aid. This is like a year or two ago. He's walking around.
I remember.
And he's like, look at this place. The shelves are, look how bad the shoplifting is in Los Angeles. The shelves of this Rite Aid are empty. And then everybody was like, hey, Rite Aid's out of business, you fucking idiot. They're not restocking their supplies. Like, they're not. It's like a guy who is an idiot, but is like, everybody else is stupid, not me. Yeah. So this thing I'm looking at must be stupid because that's my first instinct with everything. It's like, oh, it's all dumb. And that to me is one of the stand-up comic brain things I hate, where you're like, well, I'm the funniest, most clever guy ever. So if I notice something that seems weird, the explanation must be that it's stupid. There can't be a good explanation I don't know or don't understand. It's like, oh, look at this dumb thing I see.
And now Bert is like, well, I don't even get involved in politics anymore. And I think it has a lot to do with that Rite Aid post. I think that that is like the thing where everyone's like, you are catastrophically stupid, sir. And he's like, maybe I'll just stick out of this. I'll just keep my nose out of this. But yeah, he says in this fucking interview, he says like, I'm just trying not to be, well, I wrote, it's near the end of the interview, but he says something about trying not to be. Oh, he said, I don't want to be ignorant. He's trying so hard not to be ignorant, like one of these ignorant people. So that speaks to what you're saying. He really does seem to believe that like, he's one of those guys who's like, no, I'm stupid, but he doesn't think he's stupid.
No.
He's like, no, I'm this buffoon guy, but it's like in his mind, he's like, this is a character I'm playing. Like I do understand things better than most people, or else I wouldn't be able to be a stand-up comedian.
So this is just a quick joke. This is such a, I will say, for all the shit I've given Bill Maher, this is a really funny joke he makes here.
This is what I always say, my message to liberals, attention Whole Food shoppers.
I mean, listen, you know what? I call it whole paycheck.
I call it whole paycheck.
I call it whole paycheck.
Yeah. I do call it that. I honestly do, because of how much of my paycheck it takes.
The whole thing, right?
Yeah, the whole fucking thing. My God.
He's talking about why he is better at this stuff than these guys who just came around to it recently, the Andrew Schultzes.
Well, I think the difference is that I'm actually a political comedian. Some of these people are just sort of trolling, or I don't think they really follow politics that closely. I mean, I was steeped in politics as a kid. My father was a newsman. It was just in my house. Some of these people come to politics a little late. They're not really political comedians, but they're thrust in places where you got to do a monologue every night, or you got to, be political.
It's so funny to gatekeep doing politics and political comedy. And that just makes me think of that part there just makes me think of Bane, Bill Maher as Bane, being like, okay. You think political comedy is your thing? Well, you merely adopted politics. I was born in it. That's what it makes me think of. It's a fun little act out I've got for you guys. My father used to read the New York Times at the kitchen table. Like that kind of thing.
It's so funny. I read the polls. It says 27% of people now identify as Republican, 27% as Democrat. which is not a lot for either. 45% as independent. Obviously, there's a lot of people who don't like the extremes, and I don't like the extremes, unless the extreme is what makes sense. Sometimes it is.
So that's classic Bill Maher right there. Can't read a poll where he's like, oh, it's, only 27% identifies Republican or Democrat. That means most people don't like the extremes. It's like, well, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I think there are probably a lot of independents who maybe don't consider either party extreme enough, or particularly would, especially with the Democrats, not consider them extreme enough, quote unquote. And then also be like, the extremes are bad unless they're good. Who's to say? It's just like, this is not nuance. It's just cowardice. You're just like a guy who won't pick you just want to, he will never ever, he can't ever be wrong. He will never accept that he was wrong about anything. So, like, here he is staking out every position that he possibly can. This next one, I just thought, this is just the kind of stuff that he says that I think is really funny. He's talking about Johnny Carson, how Johnny Carson was his idol. Some other idols he also names afterwards, Carlin and Robert Klein. With Robert Klein will come up later.
Boy, turning into a man at that age, James Bond, Johnny Carson, you had to have some people who you thought, oh, as I'm becoming a man, this is the kind of man I want to be.
One of those guys is not real. Like, I get it, but also, like, I want to be like James Bond. Hearing a 70-year-old man be like, hearing a 70-year-old man being like, one of my idols was James Bond, it's tough to hear anything more depressing than that, unless that sentence is followed with, and then I turned 10 and grew up a little bit. But this guy still, when he talks about the pussification of James Bond, he clearly still feels very strongly about how James Bond used to be a good role model when he was like, I think it was an episode of Guys I just listened to. Brian Quimby was talking about, there's a James Bond movie where, like, James Bond is like kissing some lady and he sees a guy sneaking up behind him to attack him in the woman's reflection. So he spins around and uses the woman as a shield against the guy's attack. Like, what a role model. He's like, you know what bothers me? My remote control works 1 minute. I come back 10 seconds later, it doesn't work. My neighborhood has horrible cell reception because everyone's so rich and so posh, they don't want cell phone towers around. So I'm like, why don't we just find a bloke with cancer? What is it? Cancer and Alzheimer's? So he won't know. Or who's blind with cancer, so he won't even know that it's in his front yard. And it's like, wait, you're doing a joke right now about you're so rich you can't get good cell reception. And this is just like, I was sure at some point he'd acknowledge the fact that he was doing the least relatable material in the world, but he just never does.
What's even more insane is that's not the reason. The reason is known. And I'm literally sitting there and be like, you're in London. Like this, you're literally doing a joke it's because Hampstead has a giant, there's something called Hampstead Heath, and it's on the hind of London, and there's a giant park there, and then there's a rich person's neighborhood in the middle of the park, and it's not because the rich people can't have cell towers, it's that because it's crown land, the Queen is like, no, it's a gorgeous park, you can't have cell towers there. That's like, it's like an environmental reason. Everyone knows the reason. Like, it's like, literally watching this is like, you just wanted to talk about a guy dying of cancer that you get to own. Like, it was fucking insane. Like, I was literally be like, who here has been to Gstaad, but it's May and they don't have the good buns? And you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, so in case people think that's the least sort of relatable chunk of his material, then he starts talking about how he's like, my girlfriend Jane and I, we went on a vacation to this beautiful little town in the Bay, because he's talking about other things that he hates. He's like, we went to this restaurant. It was empty. It was perfect. My favorite kind of restaurant. And this is the story he tells about it.
This bit is insane.
We sat by the window. We were looking out over the bay. There was a sea lion bobbing round. A pelican landed. The waiter brings our food. Then suddenly, in all that peace and perfection, out of the kitchen doors comes a busboy And he just stands in this empty restaurant and he goes... I looked at him. I looked at Jane. Jane didn't even look up. She just went, nothing we can do. Like that. So I'm all alone, right? And the sweat starts. I just get a sweat, right? I go, okay, he's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. Sure enough, I bang my fork against the plate and I just look at him like that. And Jane goes, he doesn't know why you're staring at him. I go, I want him to know. I want to go, you okay? I go, not really. You know, you keep doing that, right? Jane goes, for heaven's sake, he's a busboy. He's at work. Let's just eat and go. So meal ruined, right? And I wasn't allowed to do anything, right? So this is how I got through the last 10 minutes of that meal. It's absolutely true, right? I'm eating. Every time I went, cunt!
I wasn't allowed to do anything. Like what? Strike him? Call the manager? What did you want to have the busboy flogged? Like
the bit is a man cleared his throat and it ruined my meal. Understand how much he missed. If that is a true story, which it's a nightmare if it is. His long-term partner, Jane, is not reacting to the busboy. She's reacting to the fact that the person she's still with purely for the money is about to unnecessarily be angry at another human being for doing something he is deemed on a list of rules you're not allowed to do. And also, he's like, I wasn't allowed to do anything except for scream cunt 8 times in a restaurant.
Yeah, like, hey man, if you're gonna do that, just be like, oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. I clearing throats makes me, like, you can just be like, I'm so sorry, but I have a thing. Clearing throats makes me really nauseous. I'm so sorry, but could you not do it in the dining room? I really apologize. Like, I know it's a me thing. And then you leave a nice tip for the guy because, as you mentioned, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. But no, instead, he's got to be like, this working class slob has phlegm in his throat because he can't afford to take a day off when he's congested. And now he's ruining my meal with my partner who dreams every day of getting away from me after she raids the safe I won't give her the combination to. Like, this is like the ravings of like aristocracy.
It is also nuts because you haven't said where they're. It's Sausalito.
Yes,
it's literally like he's describing one of the most moneyed portions of the United States
of the Bay Area, already a very moneyed place.
Oh my God! And like Sausalito, because there's a famous gig in Marin County, which is like it pays way too much. Is because Robin Williams used to live down the street and would just be like, I'm doing a show tonight and just not take any money. So they were like a theater with a slush fund of $8.5 billion. And so they just pay an unconscionable amount of money to the comedians. And you drive to Marin County, which is like the podunk shit kicker part of that county. And you're like, and bear in mind, smoking is banned in the city. Like I was a cigarette smoker and I showed up and I went, hey, where can I buy cigarettes? And they were like, 2 towns. Do you know how fucking insane you feel getting in an Uber to buy cigarettes?
It's this part is, I mean, to quote Ricky Gervais, it's mental, this part. I couldn't, and again, I was sure at the end he would be like, and then I'm sitting in the hotel room with Jane and I look at her and I go, I've changed, haven't I? And she looked at me and she went, of course you've changed. Like something. But instead he's just like, I got revenge on him. He even says, she's like, it's the busboy, leave it alone. What she's doing is like, this is a kid at work making, I mean, he's, making probably at the time, probably like $12 an hour, I think would have been minimum wage there. And it's like, just leave him alone. Like, you don't have to be an absolute prick to every person in the world.
Ricky, we are, I don't know if you know this, we are so rich, we actually surpassed Epstein level and just moved on to the Eyes Wide Shut party level of wealth. And unfortunately, I know you've forgotten this, but other human beings are allowed to exist on this coil. So sometimes their movements violate our movements. And I know you can't handle that, but it is what it is, Big Cheese.